So this is quite exciting news on something I've been developing quite easily, actually. It's not been as difficult as I thought. We had a discussion on the Discord around showing other aircraft. I put some thought into this. And now if you go across to the map, let's say we zoom in. I've also created a red aircraft for you on the south end. If you then, it's by default it's off, you put that back on, you'll see you have green aircraft updating every 15 or so seconds. I'll explain the updates in a minute, but as you can see, this shows you the aircraft, and there's some not going to have a flight plan, and you could zoom into an airport and see everyone on the ground there. It's quite good in terms of knowing who's around. You'll see these update every say every 5 seconds they're getting an update, but every 15 seconds going back to the server. So what I've done with the server is created a situation where it's polling 15 seconds off VSR, and then the front end polls independently of the server, which means that we can obviously keep the front end updated much easily doing that, rather than have the front end force the poll through to VSR. So that's quite good, but we've done some more. So if we go to, let's say, Heathrow and click on that, automatically you get the map up. But also you get, as you can see on here, color coding. So yellow says that it's inbound to Heathrow, blue is outbound from Heathrow, and green has no flight plan. So unfortunately I have to map the greens because we don't know where they're going, and they could well be on the ground at Heathrow. But you can see here that this now becomes quite interesting in terms of wider interest, but more importantly, when you can now zoom in on the ground and see who's outbound and inbound. So you can see there's someone coming into land there, and then these aircraft are sitting on the ground. Some are taxiing. So the overlay is basically the call sign, aircraft type, height and speed. So you can see that this is coming in 700 foot, and that will refresh any minute. So I can do that for any of the aircraft that are in the table. So if we wanted to go to Geneva, click on there, you can see there's quite a few on the ground at Geneva and a couple coming in. It's also quite useful because you can obviously see which runway is being used if you look at the approaches. The other thing that we've done is if you go down to the filter, so you can either get this through the filter or you can get it through the weather, airport weather. You will notice that there is now a little map icon. So if I was to put in KLAX, which is out of my zone, may not even have a controller on at the moment, and clicked on there, that will actually go and map all the aircraft in that area. It doesn't map the air traffic control frequencies. It's not a replacement for the standard mapping, and obviously there are no frequencies because you're offline. But you can see here the concept. So again, I leave this up because you can clear it out. Let's go for Y, SSY, Yankee Sierra Sierra Yankee for Sydney. Press there, and we'll fly across the world. And there is Sydney at the moment, quite busy. Quite a few inbound aircraft from Melbourne, and a couple coming in from Brisbane, I believe, and then some outbounds as well, going to various places. So you can see that the map becomes very useful, especially when you're in close proximity. So for instance, if you're on the approach, and the update of every 15-20 seconds is probably sufficient for most people. It's not TCAS, it is basically an information service. Hope to have this out relatively soon, doing some testing on it next couple of days, because as I've reorganised the way the server polls, I just want to make sure that remains accurate. But we'll push this out as a release pretty soon. Another thing you might just notice, these blue buttons on the bottom are the white buttons normally. However, if you're it relates to the new method of calling the SIM connect to stop the clash. So if these are white, it means it's going out through the browser and JavaScript, and if they're blue, it means it's going through the server and SIM connector.